So let's see. Today, I just wanted to touch on some of the things that I've been going through. Um, I wish I could say it's difficult to talk about, but it's not. It's a journey, a part of my life that if I don't share, I harbor, and I can't do that. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have an autoimmune disease. Nobody knows anything about the autoimmune disease other than it's called multiple sclerosis, and there's about 400,000 people in the United States that suffer from it. Um, 30 years ago, maybe 35 years ago, there wasn't any medication for it. Today, however, there's about 14 different types. Um, so I'm in the process of going back into infusion therapy. Infusion therapy is what they do in terms of treatment for people. A lot of the times, infusion therapy is basically a dose of a steroid, because when you're having infusion therapy, most likely your body is going through inflammation. So what they need to do is they need to bring that inflammation down. So sort of like when you take an ibuprofen, when you have like maybe swelling or whatever, or your head is kind of pounding, same difference. Um, I've also compared it in the past to the shocking of a pool. So if you think of a pool that's dirty or green, right, and then you shock it with chlorine, right, it's able to kill whatever bacteria is in the pool. It's kind of the same thing with infusion therapy in the body. So another thing about the human body is that the human body is very resilient. Um, and that's why Jesus Christ said, heal yourselves, because the body is so resilient that you can retrain it when it's broken. You can fix it. Um, I'm a middle child. There's 5 years between me and my older brother, and 5 years between me and my younger sister. So I was basically stuck in the middle of five kids. And so growing up, it was not the easiest. I was, in the middle, so I got blamed a lot for what the kids did, the smaller ones. And then I got yelled at a lot for what the older kids did. Um, my mom was a single parent, so she didn't have the right tools to take care of us, and therefore we were constantly on the run from child services. Um, I'm 50 years old now. I have one son. I um, I made an early choice in life not to have more than one child, and I find it interesting in terms of entertainment that Harry and Meghan are being, sought after for an award because they've chosen to have just two kids. When in reality, I don't even think she's birthed one of those children, but that's just my opinion. Um, when you have trauma in your life, one of the things that you do to constantly help your situation is entertain yourself. And so, I learned early on that like entertainment is something that, people, it's a necessary being, entertainment. Um, I wasn't that lucky as I was, growing up and having my own child. At 16, I had to drop everything and take care of him. So I wasn't that girl that was out partying and doing stupid and crazy things because, I learned quite a bit from the dysfunction of my mother at an early age. I knew once and for all that like children needed babysitters, and so I wasn't gonna have a ton of kids, so that I could be constantly, in search of a babysitter, somebody to take care of my kids. I learned that from my mother because my mother made me watch my siblings when I was young. So it's not that I don't like kids, I just don't like kids. It's not that I don't like kids, like I love kids, but there was just too much childhood trauma for me to endure having more than one child. I couldn't do it. I knew this from the beginning, that there was no way I was going to have more than one child. It just wasn't happening. I saw things in my body that weren't supposed to be there. For example, when I was about 8 months pregnant, I had to go down the street to find my boyfriend, my son's father. I forget the reason, but he had to come home. And eventually, when he did come home, I had taken a fall while going to to the neighbor's house to go get him. As I was walking, there was a tree. And the tree had all these limbs sticking out of the ground. And I saw the one limb, but I thought, okay, I'm just going to step over it. And when I did try to go step over it, it was almost as if the limb kind of grew higher in height. And my foot didn't raise high enough to clear the limb, so I fell. I landed on my knees. That was obviously a warning sign for me. And so, moving forward to like age 21, I started identifying other factors that were kind of like not conducive to well-being. And so this is how I learned that, there's a psychology to it. And the best way that you can move forward in your life is to learn from the mistakes that your parents have made. Now, bear in mind, I was only 21 when I decided to take psychology courses, but that's what I did. At the time, I had a 5-6-year-old child, So, the process of learning is not easy. You have to, move a lot of obstacles that are in your way in order to get past them. And that's what you do with an obstacle. When an obstacle is in your way, you pick it up and you move it out of the way so that it's not in your way anymore. And so this is what happened to me. I started to take psychology courses. I started learning. As I got older, I became more comfortable with the person that I was inside my body. In other words, I was comfortable in my own skin, meaning I could go off and become an entertainer because, I had it in me. I could do it. So the depression didn't really hit me very hard until I turned 21. I went through a horrible breakup. I literally thought I was going to die from it. I actually went down to the coastline in my brand new red Honda Civic 4-door sedan that I just bought, like maybe off the lot a couple months before. And I wanted to throw myself off of a cliff. And it was then that this fear came over me, and I don't know what that fear was, but it was so strong that I started the ignition up, and in the forefront of my brain, my thought was, rev it and go straight. But instead, I threw it in reverse, and I revved it, and I went back out of that area, and then I went towards the highway, the 101. Incidentally, the area that I'm talking about is in Ventura County. So yeah, it's not, the clearest memory that I have of, having that particular type of thought, but it was, again, the one and only time that I actually went to a place and thought about it, and that fear overcame me, and I was able to drive away from there. Now my husband's home. That's why the dogs are crying. He went to go get the lawnmower because he had it fixed. It's a brand new lawnmower, but it broke down and he had to get it fixed. And so he picked it up last week, and then it broke down again, so he had to drop it back off, and he's picking it up today, and that's why the dogs are going crazy. So, but back to the traumatic injury of the brain is just that. It's an injury, This is why you got to be nice to your children, man. You know, and this is why you got to be nice to your children. We get you're having a hard time. Recently, I saw a girlfriend of mine that I worked with for many years, um, in the early 2000s, and she had posted that her son had gotten violently beat up by his father. And the kid wasn't even like, you know, a high school graduate yet. He was still going through the process of graduating school. And I fucking couldn't believe that I saw that. I was like, wow. Because that trauma brought me back to my childhood, and I just thought of all these different things that I've gone through in my life with my mother. And you can love your mom. You can love your mom to death and not want anything to do with her. And it's kind of how I feel right now. I feel really devastated for the fact that, you know, my brothers and my sister could be so adamant to, you know, try to be abusive to me over things that my mother's told them about my relationship with her. So basically, she goes off and complains to my siblings whenever we have a fight. And so now the next time I see my siblings, they attack me. This is fucking dysfunctional, okay? It is so dysfunctional that I just recently turned 50 years old in November, and I'm finally starting to figure it out. Like, I can see the patterns now, and I am able to be concise in identifying these motives, and I'm able to, you know, recollect the friction that's involved, and put two and two together, and and then it adds up. And then I'm just left with, like, I'm basically left holding the fucking bag of shit. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot. My little brother, I love him. But this year, this time, this mess that he is involved in with a child of his that died suddenly from a gunshot wound, no. That doesn't happen in a normal family. And if it does, please school me. Let me know in the comments. Because I'm attributing this to a freaking non-functional, dysfunctional family that can't even make it through the process of identifying their trauma. In other words, my brother could have badgered my nephew to death and not even know it. He couldn't even figure out what he was doing because it's learned behavior. And he didn't give a fuck. He didn't care. Why am I saying this? I'm tired of seeing it, and I'm tired of living it. I'm tired of my sister and her husband and their kids pretending that they're so perfect. Meanwhile, the guy's got, like, psychological issues that could possibly have him thrown in jail for life. What am I talking about? Family dysfunction. If you see something, say something. If you see that something is happening and it's not okay and it's inappropriate, talk about it. Talk about it. Open your mouth. Let it be known. Otherwise, we're left, the rest of the world, to pick up the pieces. That little kid that's missing in Tennessee, that her father keeps talking about how, oh, she might have been abducted. I don't think so. I think maybe, and these are all my thoughts and opinions, they sold her. Why? Look around. This is America, the greatest nation in the world, and this is the dysfunction that Americans have to deal with on a daily basis. Shootings, just absolute chaos. And then you want to go over and talk about God, and the people say, oh, It's a free country, freedom of religion. I get it. I get it. So what they're actually trying to say is, don't push a religion on me. Got it. Got it. So you don't believe in God. We get it. You're a gun lover. We get it. Gun lovers would never kill themselves. They have too much respect for their guns. We get it. We get it. But if you're running around with guns on you, and you're quite young, and you don't realize that guns are a high commodity in America because everybody wants one, this is the problem. When a person isn't well mentally, they shouldn't have a gun. If the person is not able to, come to terms with, there are some psychological issues here that you're dealing with, maybe because of the things that are happening in your life. Maybe these are the fucking breaks that came to you. These are your breaks. Those are the ropes. Those are that's the way the ball bounces. Pick up yourself off the ground and fucking move forward. But most definitely don't badger a child. What am I saying? That's my brother. You think I don't fucking know him? You think I don't fucking know my mom who raised him? You don't think I fucking know the trauma that she's fucking bestowed on us? I tried hard to raise those kids properly. And then they grew up. They're not my fucking problem anymore. I'm my fucking problem right now. Because I'm trying to deal with that manifestation of their bullshit. And then they don't want to fucking hear it. Let me tell you something. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. So you better get used to it. This is a huge manifestation, and if you don't think that you can manifest something like this, as tragic as it is, you're a fucking moron. And I hate to admit it, but I feel sorry for you. People need to do the work, man. They just do. I'm tired. I'm tired. Like that fucking guy said to the one fucking police officer or warden in that one movie, The Green Mile. I'm fucking tired, boss. I'm tired of having to fix the shit that people put me through. It's too much. So yeah, I got new clothes for myself. But I'm getting ready to bail. Because when shit hits the fan in my book, we go running. As in, the park, go around running in circles because, you gotta take care of your body. So I think maybe, 6 to 9 months of recovery will be, a little bit of a time to reflect. Just a time to reflect. I'm getting a wire behind those teeth, and then I'm getting some implants in the back. That's today. 6 to 9 months recovery. Wish me luck. If you want to follow along on my progress, please do. I talk a lot about mental health. I talk a lot about trauma, traumatic experiences, and my personal experiences with trauma. I'm getting off medication, the antidepressants, and I've noticed that my face moves a lot. That's one of the side effects of the antidepressants. All that shit. So yeah, we're moving right along, man. Life is short. Take care of your brain. Like and subscribe, share if you need to. I really could use more subscribers. Thank you very much. Have a great day.